Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican por service. Oh, for Trump's sake.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Good morning. Holy cow, where did I go? That's just weird. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, everyone close your eyes. Okay, I'm back. Good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. This is the Recovery Addict channel, and I am the Recovery Addict. Oh, that threw me off. I don't know how I just disappeared this morning. Fixed it. We need someone with more experience for sure. Audio is all jacked up. Alrighty. Welcome. Happy Friday.
Taking it easy.
Happy Friday to one and all. I have to say a big shout out to just a couple people. First of all, we'll go with Kim R., who was first in chat. Kim, congratulations. You are the winner of the internet. You were first in chat. You've done this before. You know what to do. Just fix everyone's internet problems worldwide for the rest of the day. You'll be fine. Yes, that's correct. Welcome, Jennifer Juniper, Fire Girl, Handmade by Wendy. Good to have you here. 80s Music Man in the chat. Early. That's wonderful. DSN, welcome. Barb Russell, thank you very much for being here as well. Lindsay Bay is in the house. Deb Pickett, good morning. Good morning, my friends. Martha Ivy is here. Good groovy Jill. Hello, Jennifer Juniper again. Jade 902, Selena K. Let's see, Birdie B. Com Tien Girl. Hello, welcome. Rianne K, previous internet winner. Good job taking the day off today. Let's see, we had Lindsay Bay. Red Pointless Pen is here, and with no typos, I might add. I don't know. Technically, should tedious be capital? Never mind. I'm never going to try to correct you, Red Pen. We know how badly that went last night. Hope 8 Fears here. Hello. Welcome. Lois Cox, I see you there. Marty Hereford. Hello. Jade 902. I think we got you there a little bit earlier. Mindy FS. Deb Pickett. Hello. Hello, Deb. Debbie, the Creative Bee, is here. Hello. Red Ford, I see you as well. Sky Mama, welcome to the gallery. Good to have you here, Sky Mama. All right, let's see. Anybody else? I think that's everybody, right? Well, just kidding. Josh Hutchins, good morning as well. Don't have time to do like a full roll call, but I thought I'd get the first few people who were in chat. Shelly Kelly, hello. Let's see. A couple other people.
Happy birthday. Hey. You look good.
Thank you, Judge Fleischer. It's not my birthday, but it's somebody else's. All right, happy Friday. It is so good to be to the weekend. I tell you, I have a list of things to do, and all of them involve things I don't want to do, and then I have a list of other things that I have to do.
I was kicked back, taking it easy.
That I do want to do, and
in front of the Walmart.
I'm not sure who's going to win on this competition, but. I imagine I have to do something with the bathroom remodel this week, and there has to be some progress made because I have done not a stitch of work on that in the last week and a half. Debbie, so far nothing. I know this is terrible. I know this is terrible to say, but right now I've just got my fingers crossed that my neighbors got food poisoning.
Is that correct?
That sounds like a terrible thing to wish upon them. But I would rather they got food poisoning and are now getting over it than they got the stomach flu and are giving it to my kids. And are now getting over it. Either way, they're getting over it, which is good. I just hope that in the past it was food poisoning. Does that sound bad? Oh yeah. So yes, we're good. Everyone's healthy this morning. Everyone's happy. Got a lot of good sleep. Folks, whose voice is the intro that says, what you're saying is not relevant? That would be Judge Manning. And it sounds like this.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
That's her. From Fulton County, Georgia. Let's see. If they all got queasy at the same time, it's likely food poisoning. Here's what they did. They went to Cookout. Cookout is like a hamburger joint that does not have any sit-down dining. It's all drive up or walk up, and drive through or walk up, and you get served, and then you leave, and you eat in the car. Everybody who got sick had a raspberry shake. None of my kids had a raspberry shake, and they did not get sick. There wasn't any other food, but maybe it was strawberry. Maybe the strawberry had turned. I don't know. Can we address the Weather Watch's face in the podcast when you told him you ordered a knife? I did not see that. Somebody send that to me in a text. That would be awesome to see. The knife arrives today. Sheath arrives tomorrow, Sunday, I think. And I told you I ordered new tubes for my bicycle because I need to put tires in there and ride it a little bit because I do like riding a bicycle.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won. I got the package. It arrived, and I ordered it with the wrong valve stems. You know, the normal, regular bicycle valve stems? The mountain bike I have requires those long, skinny, metal, tall ones. So I had to order those, and I'll return the others.
I saw a chicken fight.
All right, we have some birthdays. Thank you very much, Josh, for putting these up. Great people to celebrate today, and we have a lot of them. So it's going to go something like this. We have Helen B., Michelle, Nurse for God, Word Nerd 3, Shelby, Melanie Roberts, Kathleen Coolidge Richards, and Veda Worship. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is a mouthful. Because some of you, I'm not saying you're being selfish, but you're using a lot of letters. You're taking a lot of letters for your names. Kathleen, I'm looking at you. You got a big name. It's going to take some space here, which we're happy with saying. So let's figure this. Helen B., Michelle, Nurse for God, Worded, Shelby, Melanie Roberts. It's going to be at least 2 verses. It's a 2-verser. Okay, so I think we're going to do Helen B., Michelle, Nurse for God, Word Nerd, and Shelby, and then we'll get Melanie Roberts, Kathleen Coolidge Richards, and Veda Worship on the tail end. Okay, if that works for you. Everybody please stand up, take a deep breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbors, warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. Excellent. Whew, it's going to be a good one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy Michelle, Nurse for God, Word Nerd 3, and Shelby. Happy birthday to you. So we got Helen B., Michelle, Nurse for God, Word Nerd 3, and Shelby. Now we just have to get Melanie Roberts, Kathleen Coolidge Richards, and Veda Worship, verse 2. So everyone get ready, dancers. Keep it up. Keep it up. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Melanie Roberts, Kathleen Coolidge Richards, and Veda Worship. Happy birthday to you. I think I said happy birthday, but happy birthday. To everyone who's celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday. I realize there are a million wonderful days, but today is your special day. There are a million places you could have been, a million people you could have celebrated with, but you've chosen to be here with us. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor is all ours. Hopefully, we can return a little bit of that joy back to you and make your day a little more specialer. You can begin having a more specialer day by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP, Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Bob Evans, and Andy's Grill. Free pancakes for all. Happy birthday. Is there a single other live stream on YouTube that begins with the streamer singing happy birthday to everyone for that day? There may be, but I've never seen one before that does. Red Pen, did we sing to your birthday?
You look good.
Happy birthday to your niece. Happy birthday, Red Pen's niece. Oh yeah. Second to last verse right here. Drum solo ready? Here we go. Everybody grab your air drum sticks. Sit down to your air drum set. Help finish off the birthday song with a big drum solo. Nailed it. First try. Wonderful. Have a happy birthday to everyone who's celebrating. Just saw I had some fluff on my shirt. Welcome. Happy Friday. It is Friday. It's a wonderful day to have a birthday, by the way, because then you get to party all weekend long. I was going to tell you something that was really important. Let's see. It'll come back to me. Probably mid something else. I have the hiccups now. All right. I told you about the bike tires. Told you about the work. Oh, I've got the gig tonight. The parenting class. Now that I've raised 6 kids most of the way, it's a great time to learn how to parent. So I'm going to be doing that. Let's see, what else was there? We have... Can we explain the updated birthday form, please? You no longer. Oh yes, he says, Amber, this is a great time to do this. The birthday form, which there's links dropped usually in here and mostly on Facebook page. You can submit your birthday now for months in advance. We're basically just tracking all your personal data. It sounds bad when I put it that way, but we'll keep track of your birthday, and you don't have to tell us on the day or the day before or something. It makes it easier. It makes the song longer, because we just collect names. I'm not sure how long we can continue that, but for now we're doing that. So you can click the form, click the link. Amber will put it in chat. Add your birthday. There it is. Add your birthday, and we'll save it. And then you just after your birthday, you just want to put the last 4 of your social and your. No, just kidding. Mother's maiden name. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't give that to anybody. We don't do that. But all we need is your YouTube name and your birthday. You don't have to give us like your legal, nothing like that. What's next? Social security number? That's, would help. I have a package coming today. It's coming via USPS. Also, I sent you a clip to burner for us to watch. Also, it is a conclusion of a Judge DeSanto crazy tenant case today. Oh my goodness, we've got a lot. Okay, we will have to, hang on, I just got an image. Somebody just texted me their Twitter screen. I'm not sure why. It's cool. I'm glad you have Twitter. I also follow Pretty Lies and Alibis, but I saw her stuff this morning. I'm not sure what you texted me for. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe there should be another picture. Oh, Britt Bottoms, thank you, by the way. Just texted you an update on John Mello on the Rose Petal murder. That was the bond hearing. Did see that. Let's see. I'll give you my birthday, but I'm not telling you the street I grew up on in 3rd grade. So no security clearance for Amanda H because she's withholding information, but we still might sing to you. All right. The update in the Rose Petal was from Pretty Lies and Alibis, where there was a bond hearing, no bond for Mello. And his attorney withdrew his counsel last week, which I think is normal for them to withdraw like that after the trial's over, because they're not going to be the appellate attorney, right? Britt Bottoms, by the way, thank you for the package. If I didn't see you yet the other day, I'm not sure if you saw on the podcast, we tasted some stuff, tried some things. All right. Britt Bottoms, thank you. It just came with no instructions. It was literally something I had just seen earlier today, just a few minutes before. So it's not like I was just perusing. She's one of the people I follow on Twitter. She's really good, keeping up to date on things. Have you always had trouble with authority? Yes, I used to. I idolized my friend's car. Is that a thing? No, my friend. I had a friend whose name was Strider, and first of all, that is just the coolest name ever. Okay, Strider. That's like a hero out of a comic book series. Okay. Anyway, his parents named him Strider. That's awesome. And his family car had a big bumper sticker that said "Question Authority" on the back. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That is so cool. Anyway. Oh, did I mix up the rose petal? Mella's the baby daddy. I get them all confused. I just follow the current one, that's all. Speaking of current ones, we do have a current case. If I can get our counter back up. We had our cursive counter going here before. There we go. And a little higher. A little to the left. Perfect, right there. All right, we're waiting for court. It'll be just a moment here. I fought the law and the law wins. Yes, that's how it works. So I've noticed online a lot of people are talking about swatting. And swatting is something that's interesting to me because as a live streamer, that is a threat. I don't think our community is as... I think a couple things help lessen the threat of that happening to me. First of all, I don't consider myself to be very caustic and abrasive and aggressive online. I don't fight with people online, so I don't really make a ton of enemies. So that helps. That helps. And part number two is that when I first started live streaming years ago, I went to the police department. I said, hey, I've heard about this thing happening. I'm worried that if I go live, that somebody would try to send a SWAT unit to try to interrupt the live stream. And so I have been in touch with them forever. So maybe they'll tell me if somebody calls and says, hey, somebody called in a swatting thing on your address. I hang out with the cops. They're good people here, and they know me, and they've gotten a little account. So it wouldn't work for me. And I think that's the right thing to do, is to let them know, say, hey, I'm a possible target. I don't know of any existing threats. But anyway, terrible thing. And I think the crime of swatting, because it is filing a false report, should have an elevated punishment because of the risk it puts on both police officers and the target. So... But anyway, scary stuff. Let's see, when I fill in the UK sentence, I put Jedi down as my faith. I've done so since the 2000s. Misbehaving. You are misbehaving. Sarah Sherwood says, imagine your family name is Mello and your parents' name is Marsha. Marsha Mello. That's also a crime. See, wasted resources, Jordy, that is a concern, because that's somebody's tax dollars. Anytime, especially when I live in an area that is economically depressed, where I would say a majority of the people who live here fall under the poverty level. And that is super low, because the cost of living is low. But that when you look at that, you say, yeah, they may not be paying income taxes, or they might pay income taxes and get everything back in their refund. But they do pay other taxes, and those taxes are just oppressive. It doesn't matter to somebody who's making barely enough to pay for food and keep the light bill on. If they pay the tax as a food tax or as a gas tax or as an income tax, either way, it's money out of their pocket. And it bugs me when tax dollars are wasted, because it's a lot of people who pay a little bit here and there. So, it shouldn't hurt, it's only a couple bucks. It hurts, and it adds up. So that's a big issue. But I think, to me, the bigger issue is life, because money can be replaced. Okay, it's tight and it's painful. Life cannot be replaced, and putting somebody's life at risk is just not cool. Regina Crawford, gifted a membership. Thank you, Regina. Thank you. My middle name is K Maiden. Maiden name Martz, so I was called Kmart Blue Light Special. Shoppers, we have a blue light special on aisle 7. I remember hearing that. I remember before Kmart sort of went out of business as a kid. That was one of the stores that my family could afford shopping at. So we would go to Kmart. And it was a bit of a drive to get there. But I remember hearing the blue light special. All right. Amy R. gifted a membership. Thank you very much, Amy. Shells member for 26 months. OG. Happy Friday. Loves to all. Shells, thank you very much. You and Lee are fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for your support. If that winking officer visited me, I wouldn't have an issue, though. I think the other thing that will help protect me from swatting is the fact that that I have about 700 windows in my house. And everybody, I mean, everyone can see. It's like, oh, no, there's nothing going on there. We can see everything. So there's that. Having lunch with my Grammy at Kmart is a core memory for me. See, for me, I remember like hanging onto the shopping cart and my mom buying Christmas presents, and everyone had to like donate their coat because it was freezing cold. It's always freezing cold around Christmas. And so we'd go in the store, and then everyone would have to put their coat in the basket so that she could cover up all the presents as she's going around doing shopping, so we wouldn't see what the presents are. And then, of course, then we'd try to buy them. So it's like, okay, now we're going to buy them. So you take all the kids over here, and I'm going to buy them. And we're going to try to bag them in such a way that nobody can see what they are. But now you need your coat back because we're going to go outside, and nobody look in the back of the car. And it was a fun time. Great family memories. Mindy FS member for 16 months says it just gets better all the time. Thank you, RA and chat. Mindy, thank you as well. Kind words. It wouldn't be the same without you here. I appreciate you. Tell me, have you ever done that? Have you ever tried to buy something as a surprise for somebody at the store and you're with them, and then try to smuggle it out of the store? I mean, paying for it, but smuggle it out of the store without them knowing. Yeah, that's. I always wondered. We didn't have the money to pay for the wrapping. In Kmart, they would always, at Christmas time, there'd always be people that are there. I'm not sure if it was a fundraiser or it was store employees. It was like for I don't know what it was, like $1 a present or $0.25 a present. I couldn't remember. They would wrap the presents for you. I always thought that would be the perfect solution, right? You just buy it, wrap it, done. But nope. We did that ourselves. We'd go and get the wrapping paper. You buy wrapping paper after Christmas because that's when it's on sale. So you literally buy your wrapping paper from Kmart after Christmas because then it's dirt cheap. And you used to be able to get the big rolls. Remember the big rolls that like, you had like 200 yards of wrapping paper on? Nowadays you buy it and it's got 3 squares. It's like the end of a toilet paper roll, but with wrapping paper on it. You can't find wrapping paper like they used to make it. Plus, nowadays it's also like paper thin. Like you breathe on it wrong, the thing just whoosh, dissolves. It used to be, sturdy. You double it up a couple times. You could use it, twist it up. You could use it as a toe strap if you got stuck in the snow. Not so much anymore. All right. Why are we talking about Christmas wrapping paper? All right. Can we do a small summary of the trial? It would be nice if we talk about the thing we're actually here to watch. We are up in New Hampshire. This trial is, we call it the Snowplow shooting trial because the driver of the Snowplow shot someone. It was an argument over where snow was being plowed between neighbors. One neighbor, who was Kyle Violet, objected to where Jason was plowing the snow. And Jason, who we see walking in right now, or should be walking in right now, waiting for him to come in on the right side of the screen. This is normally the shot we get. There. Bailiff. Don't see Jason. Anyway, Jason has a snowplow, and he would push snow, and it'd go over the driveway of Kyle's house. And Kyle wasn't going to stand for that. Kyle went out and told him, in no uncertain terms, apparently, that if you push that snow in front of my house, you're going to get it. And then Kyle started going back to his house, and Jason pulled out a firearm and supposedly feeling threatened, fired. Once to the jaw, knocked him to the ground, and then 5 times when he was on the ground. So this is a case you're saying, why are we in court for that? That seems pretty cut and dry, but the defendant is saying this is self-defense. So Kyle did not have a weapon. He did threaten, according to what we've heard. He did threaten, but it really does look like an airport gate. I'm telling you, this is like a 1980s airport layout. Remember the 1980s when you could actually go to the airport and you could walk all the way down to the gate? If there was security, it was minimal, right? And you go in and you walk all the way down to the gate and you're fine. You can be like, hey, you can wave, you can watch the plane pull out and hug them before they walk down the. You can't do that anymore. Nowadays, it's like you can get about as far as the baggage carousel, and it's like, say your goodbyes here because you shall hear it, and you're now going to part and never see each other until they come back. I remember the days when you could go down the airport, and they'd almost let you down to the edge of the plane. It was good time. There's our defendant there with a ponytail in brown suit today. A little different setup.
All right, my understanding is the jury's being lined up, and are we all ready to go?
Yes. For the morning
Very
spanking.
good. Let's bring the jury out, and we will continue.
All right, here's our cursive counter. We're at 13, counting the curse words. Hand me a spanking. Remember the days when I had to walk out on the tarmac to get to the stairs on the plane? Did he kill the neighbor? That's a great question. No, he did not. Shot 6 times. Did some serious damage and serious injury. And he's still, I believe he is currently paralyzed. He's currently in a wheelchair and recovering. This only happened about 11 months ago. So he's still very much on the mend side of things. Hopefully, you guys, I'll get sidetracked. The jury, they said line the jury up, and I said for your morning spanking, and you guys ran with it. That's one of your favorite scenes in the film. When we went to Norway as kids, when my family went on vacation to Norway, we flew, I think it was like TWA was the airline. And we got, the pilot let us go up to the cockpit and look at everything, and they gave us little pins, that the fake plastic wings and everything. It was crazy. They don't do that anymore. Victim has not testified yet. It's possible that he will.
Thank you all.
Kaylee Rose, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here, for being on time this morning. I trust you all had a nice, relaxing evening. So before we begin, I do want to say some words to you. I know I've given you instructions multiple times on this case about the importance of staying away from media coverage about this case, and I trust you've all been doing that. But I have been told by folks that there's been a lot of discussion or chatter about this case on various websites. There are like those community pages and
Facebook.
Those town Facebook pages. So I don't think there's any issue with it, but I am just warning you, as you're on the internet or as you're going around to various places on the internet, just be mindful that on any of those sort of community website pages in this area, there could be posts or chatter about this case because it has drawn some attention. And I want to be sure that we have a fair trial in this case and that we don't do anything which would jeopardize the fairness of the trial or the integrity of this process. Okay? So with that, we will continue with now the cross-examination of this witness. Counsel, you may proceed.
Now I need to find that Facebook page to hear that discussion, see what's going on.
Morning, Detective.
Good morning.
And I want to probably backtrack, go over a few things with you, and then we're going to go through some video too, okay?
Yes, sir.
And before I start, I want to make sure that, if I can, Your Honor, I want to introduce you to my assistant. That's Anara. They make believe I'm the boss at the office, but I'm not the boss at the office.
Doing a little matchmaking before court begins.
She's going to handle some of the video stuff as we go through. Okay.
Okay.
But let me get back to where we are. And you went through fairly thoroughly your evening on April 4th of last year and how you were contacted and what you did, and that's quite helpful. About what time did you say you got to the scene?
I'd really have to look at my reporters. Maybe 11:30, 11. Okay. I'd have to look at the call log there.
All right, but by the time you had gotten there, Kyle had been taken off the scene.
That's correct.
Right, and processing was your big number one thing, right?
On the scene, correct.
Right. And you talked to the jury about the placards and the shell casings and so forth.
I did.
Okay. And that's all. The shell casings were all in pretty much the same area, right?
Yeah, around the same area in the roadway there.
Right. And the mark where Kyle was found and where he was treated was in the same area as the shell casings.
From probably about me to you.
And that particular spot is easy to find because you'll see blood. I mean, you'll see red in the snow, right?
There was a higher concentration of blood there, and we saw it in the video as well.
Right. And that particular concentration of blood was right in front of 41 Summer Street, right?
That's correct.
And 41 Summer Street is the residence of Jason, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And in fact, it was right in front of his front steps, right?
Yeah, there's a front porch step area there and a side entrance as well on the driveway.
Right.
So it was on the front there.
So as we're looking at video, but I mean, basically, the shooting takes place like right in front of his house.
In the roadway in front of his house at 41.
Okay. And his particular motor vehicle, the truck, was parked like in front of his driveway.
When I responded for the crime scene or during?
No. During the videos. I'm just trying to go through.
During the videos, it's in the roadway of Summer Street.
Right. When you got there, the vehicle was in the driveway.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And you were processing. Now, let's go through this. You showed the jury. Let me just approach for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What was marked as State's Exhibit 5, that's a firearm, right?
Correct.
Okay. And this is a firearm that would have been retrieved from Jason's truck.
Yes, it was in the driver's seat of the truck.
Okay, let me talk to you about that for a second. Your understanding and the means in which you actually procured the firearm is that Jason gave police permission to go into his truck and retrieve it, right?
Yes.
And when they retrieved it, they noticed that it was lying right where Jason told them it would be.
Yes.
And that he had made sure and told them that what he did with the firearm was to remove the magazine, separate it from the firearm, and leave it there for them, right?
I'm not sure what he told other detectives there. I was told that it was going to be in the driver's seat.
Right.
And that's how I found it.
Yeah, you saw it separated from the magazine.
Correct.
All right. Nobody from Rochester PD separated the magazine from the firearm.
Not from my understanding, no one touched the firearm.
All right. So I guess we can infer that if nobody else did it, Jason would have been the guy that did it.
That would be, yeah, correct.
Okay. And he would have done it prior to the police getting it.
Yes.
And your understanding is that when he was asked for permission to search the truck, he readily gave permission to the Rochester PD.
Yes.
There was a form that he actually signed, I believe.
Yes, I believe he had signed a permission to search form through Detective Garson.
Right, and just briefly for the jury, the permission to search form kind of lays out his rights where he doesn't have to give permission to the police, right?
That's correct. It's a form that basically explains what we would like to search and the fact that you have a constitutional right to say, no, we don't want this to be searched. And that way we'd have to look at other means if we'd have to go through a search warrant, other options.
Right, but you didn't have to go through other options because, quite frankly, Jason made it easy.
He signed the consent to search, which granted us the right to search him.
But also during the processing, it came to your understanding that Jason communicated that he actually had video cameras, right?
Correct.
And again, that coming from him to you was something that he volunteered, right?
Yes.
And he volunteered it, and not only did he volunteer that he had video surveillance, he actually said, again, you don't have to get a search warrant.
Hearsay objection.
I'm allowing you to go and take whatever I have.
Yeah, he signed the consent form for the Night Owl DVR systems.
Right. And those are in fact, one of those systems shows that good shot of his driveway straight down to Summer Street, right?
It does show the driveway, yeah.
And that's from his system that he voluntarily said you can have.
Yes.
And then your understanding is that he agreed to go to the police station?
I was told that he had surrendered and was detained and brought back to the police station when I had responded to the station for the initial evidence crime scene.
Right. When the Rochester police got to the scene, he didn't give him any problems. He said...
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Right.
Watching video, I don't see that either.
And he just readily went with the Rochester PD to be questioned at the Rochester Police Department?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to make sure that's where we are for that evening. Also, there's an indication that once he parked the truck and prior to the police getting there, there's no indication in the snow that he tried to back the truck up or evade anybody, right?
I didn't see that, no.
He basically stayed there and waited for the police to come.
Yes.
You also found in the truck a loaded magazine with 9mm ammunition in it, right?
I did.
And that would have been during the course of you going through the truck, the very truck that he gave you permission to search and go through anything you wanted.
Yes.
He gave you permission to go into his home and search and look for anything you wanted. Correct?
To obtain the DVR systems for the recording, we were given permission to do that.
Did you ask him for anything else? I mean, did he deny anything? Did he say he didn't?
I never spoke to Mr. Levesque at all.
Any information that he didn't want you in the house?
This is from me on scene, processing the scene, saying, hey, we have this truck. What's the deal with this? And speaking to Detective Garson, who was speaking directly with Mr. Levesque. So I'm not sure, other than the fact that we were granted permission to obtain the 2 DVR systems as well as go into the truck to search.
Okay. Now, you showed, we were viewing videos yesterday, and some of them were tough to watch, not only because of the content, but because of the distance. It looks like small people. It's tough to see actual, humans even interacting. Would you agree?
I wouldn't really agree with that. I can see 2 people in face to face. I can't see a conversation, but I can see the movements of the bodies.
You can see some movement, but that first one, that Exhibit 2 from the state that was shown, the first series on that, is from a distant camera from 43 Summer Street, correct?
We didn't play 43 video surveillance yesterday, so I'm not sure.
Well, actually, we did.
The 43, the audio?
Yeah, it had audio on it.
Okay. I'm trying to recall.
I think you actually went through, well, maybe we didn't, but I mean, you actually went through it, right, 43?
I did in the course of my investigation. I don't recall that specific camera angle being shown yesterday.
It's okay, we're going to get to that. 43, you went through line by line, second by second. You tried to break it down, right?
Yes, sir.
But that 43 video is a distant video.
That one is the furthest video away in the scheme of, distance to where the location it was, correct?
Right. It's actually, you'd agree with me, tough to see the two individuals interacting closely.
For that one, yes.
But it did have audio on it that you broke down, right?
Yes, sir.
And you broke it down specifically. It was recorded at 10:11:22 p.m., which would mean 11 minutes after 10, right?
Yes.
And 22 seconds.
Yes.
And it was at that point in time that you heard and recorded, yep, there he goes. I don't know. He's all the way out there. He better not do anything stupid.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sidebar. She's objecting probably to the characterization of the evidence or something. Sort of injecting his own opinion into that, almost like testifying, but wonder if I think the defendant has to take the stand once the state rests. They have not rested yet, but I think he has to take the stand. I don't know how else you can get the allegation of self-defense on there without him taking the stand and telling his side of the story. But if he takes a stand, the state is 100% going to pull up that video and play it frame by frame for him and spell out, what were you thinking right here, and now what about here, and what about here. Yes, we got rid of the man bun emoji, thinking we would never need it again, but here it's raised its ugly head. Ooh, phrasing. It's back again. We're counting curses right now. The cursive counter is back. We called it F-bomb previously.
Let me just go back to that a second, Detective. At 10:11:22.
Sorry.
Okay. That's Kerrigan.
Make you put the same like that. I'm not going to test it. I'm going to have a medical emergency.
At 10:11:22, in your analysis, you've got Angela LaChance saying, yep, there he goes. I don't know, he's all the way out there. He better not do anything stupid, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's part of your breakdown on that video from 43.
From 43, yep.
So on that breakdown from 43, you're also watching an individual that you would have identified as Kyle in your report?
Yes, Kyle Violet.
And in that particular video, just 8 seconds after that exclamation or that statement, you note in your report that Kyle is up close to Jason Levesque, who is outside his truck. Right?
I do.
And then at 10:11:37, you note that Kyle begins walking away from Jason back towards his house, right? Meow?
If that's what it says in the bullets, yes.
Yeah. Because you're keeping second by second track of this.
Yeah, I was using like a VLC player with a frame by frame, so you can click multiple frames in 1 second span, just because the movements were very quick.
Yep. And then at 10:11:37, you've got it noted that Kyle begins walking away from Jason back towards his house, right?
Yes.
But at 10:11:41, you hear Angela say, he better not do anything fucking dumb, end quote, right?
I do.
And 4 seconds later, Kyle turns around and begins walking back toward Jason.
Yes.
So he doesn't continue on his way to his house, right?
Not at that time, if I note that he's walking towards Jason.
And right after the statement from Angela, you see on the video Kyle turning around and walking back toward Jason, right?
Yes.
Nothing would have obstructed him from going right home, right?
Correct.
There was no firearm displayed at that point in time, was there?
No.
And again, we don't have audio, so you don't know what was coming out of his mouth, right?
From my understanding, so that audio camera was the only one that had audio. You're not able to hear any conversations. If they were screaming at each other, I would assume that we could hear that because we can hear Kylan screaming outside. We can hear the conversations inside from Angela to her daughter, and we can hear them yelling outside, but the audio doesn't pick up what is being said between Mr. Levesque and Mr. Violet. That's correct.
Right. I mean, you don't know what Kyle is saying to Jason.
Not at all.
You didn't know what he was saying when he was up close to him, right?
Correct.
You don't know what he was saying when he turned around and was pointing at things, right?
I do not.
And you don't know what he was saying when he, instead of going home, turned around and started back toward Jason, right?
That's correct.
And again, that's before any firearms display. Correct?
Yes.
Now, the shooting takes place just a second or two after that, right? From your breakdown.
Yes.
So it happens very quickly after Kyle turns around from walking away and then goes toward Jason.
The first shot.
Okay. Agreed?
I'd agree.
And that's from that angle. Did you do any other video work? Did you slow it down? Did you blow it up? Did you do anything like that?
So on all videos, I would either use the frame by frame, and then on VLC Player has an interactive zoom, which is just a zoom feature where I can take a box and drag it towards a certain area, and zoom doesn't distort anything, but it makes it bigger so I can see. So I did do that to see, try to capture more of the movements or anything.
Okay. Well, we're going to show you a few videos in just a second. They're defendants with A, B, and C. A, B, and C.
Okay.
And a lot of what you just described, like blow up and slow down, and definition, is going to be broken down in those. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And I'll ask you when we show them, if, with the court's permission, if you can step down in the well, because I'll have some questions for you, as we go through them.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Fair enough. We can set up, Judge. Thank you.
They don't tell me how much I got demonetized. I can just see that day the monetization goes yellow and basically says this is limited, and nobody wants to advertise on that. So even though they sold ads through all of it, it's demonetized, and I don't get anything. But it was just the one day. It was only on March 12th. And now we're stuck. Let's see if we can fix it here. Somebody tripped on the cable, I think. Still having trouble.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're better.
We'll go with A first.
Yeah, there's no way to really figure out the amount. I can see that we had about 8,000 watch hours on that day. That's the risk we take when we live stream spicy quartz.
Household A, B, and C are fully fitted by agreement.
That is correct.
Very good.
No, it's just ad revenue. Oh, I don't know about premium. Let me see if I can find out.
Age of technology.
Is that our laptop?
Somebody got their bell rung.
Do you want to use the other computer?
Would it make sense to just take a 5-minute break?
No, I think we fixed it. I think it was plugged into the wrong port.
It's Judge's break.
Not to speak for existing.
I don't know.
Thank you.
We know. I think at this point it does make sense. We could use a little break anyway. We're going to take a 5-minute little recess, give you all a chance to stretch your legs. We'll get our technology straightened out and, oh, wait a minute. Are we there?
We're here.
Is that going to work?
Yes. Should, Your Honor. Fingers crossed.
All right. Everybody still good? Jurors, you all still good?
We've been here for 39 minutes. The judge is like, I think it's time for a break. That last half hour has been really rough.
Okay. Stop it right there. There we go. It's kind of self-explanatory. We've got a box around an individual there, and that would be Kyle Violet, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is the video from 43 Summer Street, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we continue?
Puts on his hoodie, walks down the driveway.
And why don't we stop right here? All right, now, at that point in time, do you see Jason at all in the frame?
He's partially obstructed by the door.
Right, he's actually bending down, right?
Yes.
Right, so he's bending down. Is there any indication from that frame that Jason even is aware that Kyle Violet's approaching him?
Not that I can see.
Why don't we continue? Okay, why don't we hold right there? Now, this is the initial contact or the initial approach by Violet to Jason, right?
I have to watch. You're combining different clips. This is a 41 Summer Street, so
yep.
I couldn't honestly tell you yes it is because I know that he goes back and forth multiple times.
Okay.
So with you combining them, I'm not sure.
No, that's fair. And what we're going to do is we'll continue with this so you can identify if you believe it's the first contact. Okay. All right, let's go.
It's a vehicle.
Right there, hold it. Now, do you recall that being the first contact?
I do.
Okay. And what do you see? Just, I mean, you know, we have to have a record of this. What do you see?
Sure, I recall it being the first contact because it's face-to-face with him.
It's face-to-face, and that's, we blew that up a bit so that the jury can see it a little bit clearer. Is that clearer than what they've seen before?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So that's the first contact or first I'll just say initial contact between Violet and Jason, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why don't we continue? He's pointing, stop. Did he have another contact there right before he's turning around?
He seems to be continuing to talk to him.
Do you see Jason talking to anybody?
I can't see anyone but moving.
Well, why don't we go back? We back that up a little bit. Started. Okay.
Now we can't see anything. Oh, there we go. We're going to get in trouble for this one.
Okay, stop.
He gave him a kiss right on the cheek.
That's the first contact?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, hey there, how are you doing?
Now stop.
That was close.
That's the second, right?
Yes, sir.
Start it again. Now there's the third, right?
If you're talking about contact with him kind of looking like he's re-engaging, yes.
Yes, he's re-engaging. That's right. And Jason is making absolutely no indications whatsoever of wanting to engage with him. He didn't follow him, right?
He's not following.
Right. He's just standing in the same spot. Right?
He is.
And now we got Kyle walking away for a bit, right? Stop. Now he's looking back. He looked back. He started pointing, right?
Yes.
It appears as though he's saying something, isn't it?
It looks like he's saying something.
Does it look like Jason's saying anything?
Doesn't look like it.
Why don't we continue? He's still pointing, right?
There he is.
Yeah, now he's turning back. And when he turns back, that's when the firearm is raised and he's shot. He discharged. Correct?
So this is a combo of different screens.
It is. You can stop right there.
So in my opinion, when I'm looking at that, this makes it look very quick, as if he shoots the one shot and then instantly shoots the 5 others. When I'm looking at the other DVRs, the VLC, frame by frame, I see that he walks 5 steps forward while Kyle Violet is on his back, trying to crawl away.
No, we've got that too.
Okay.
All right.
So that's...
No, I'm just trying to get the number of times that Kyle engaged with Jason so that the jury can see what we're talking about.
Okay.
And I think we're up to 4 or 5 when he
You could be correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we can continue. All right, is there slow motion edit? This may be a little clearer as to the context.
It's right in his face.
1, 2, 3.
Turns around, starts walking. 1, 2,
4. 5. 'And as he's walking back, that's when the firearm comes out, correct?
Yes.
So the firearm
issues.
Action, and that action is Kyle walking back toward Jason, right?
It looks like he's walking back towards him when the firearm starts to come out.
Correct. Okay. Why don't we go on to Exhibit B?
So the record is clear, Exhibit B is also a full exhibit, correct? Thank you.
Okay, let's play. And why don't we stop a second? And what are we seeing right here?
This looks like Kyle Violet approaching Jason's car.
Okay. And if we continue. And stop. Now that's a pretty clear depiction of the initial contact, right?
Of the two bodies, yes.
And as we saw, the only person approaching another person is Kyle approaching Jason, right?
Yes.
Having some signal issues today.
It appears there's two. Three. Now, can we stop? In none of that sequence, do you see Jason making any movement toward Kyle, correct?
Right.
Right ahead. Stop. It looks like Kyle's motioning and saying things to Jason, right?
It does.
And that Jason's doing nothing but standing.
Correct.
Continue. Stop. Now, in all fairness, I know it's a combination of things, but does that appear as though it's a continuation of his walk that just broke off?
And you had a good camera angle from the front of 41 Summer Street that would have shown this as well.
All right, but I'm just saying, does that not look like a continuation of the walk away and then the turning around?
The two different time cuts, yes, it looks like a continuation. It's hard to tell with the edits.
All right.
If there's anything else missing.
All right. And if we can continue. Now he's going back, right? Stop.
He is.
And it's at that point in time that the firearm is drawn.
Once again, this is two different video surveillance systems, and I do not see Mr. Violet moving at all in there at that point.
You may see him in a second. Why don't we keep playing?
Keep playing? Keep
there,
playing.
that's the stop.
That's in there at that point, yes.
Yeah, and he was facing Jason, right?
He's facing him there after Jason's taking a step forward with the firearm.
Right, and he's still facing him, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. Continue. And that's when the shot's fired, the first one.
That's the first shot.
Okay.
There has to be something else. You can't just shoot somebody for looking at you.
Okay, thank you. Can we go on to defendant C? Okay, why don't we stop right here? Now this is the shot, the camera from the garage area at 41.
Correct.
Okay. And this is the video surveillance system of they can analyze or do whatever you want with, right?
Yeah, one of the two.
Okay. Why don't we continue with that? Why don't we stop? Can we back it up just a second? Okay, right there. Well, right there, you don't see Jason's head at all in that frame, do you?
I do not.
Okay. And it's consistent with him bending down, working on his truck, or doing some adjustment to the motor vehicle.
It is.
I don't see him reacting to Kyle coming toward him, right?
I do not.
As if he didn't know he was there. Right?
And with the truck parked, I'm not sure. It could have been bent over, facing could have been bent over, so I don't know. I'd be just giving my opinion on
No, that's cool. All right, why don't we get going on that? Right there. Okay, now he recognizes that Kyle's there, right?
It looks like he is facing me.
He's facing him and he's standing still, correct?
The video is frozen right now.
All right.
The video's frozen.
Yeah, he's not moving.
It's not moving, right? That's because you paused
The only guy moving is Kyle, right?
That's correct.
The only guy making approaches is Kyle, right?
Yes.
The only guy making hand gestures is Kyle, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he comes back, right? Thank you. You can resume your seat if you could.
Thank you.
You can reset the video, or put away the video? Yes. Thank you.
Sloth life. It's a different world over here. It's not. You don't need a gun for plowing. It's you have the right to carry a gun. And you do. In his case, I think he didn't have the right to carry the gun because of a prior conviction. But most people who don't have a conviction would have the right to carry a gun if they so chose to, as long as you're of legal age.
We got through that without breaking anything. That's good. You went through yesterday the other work you did on the case, and I want to briefly just touch on it. You went down to Boston Medical and you collected a bullet for a frag.
I did.
And any other evidence again that you did some photography down there, I guess, right?
Did some photography the first time I went to Boston Medical, which would have been the day after the shooting, and then the bullet, I have it in my report. I think it was on the 16th, but it was a week or two after.
Right.
Yes.
You were tipped off to go down and retrieve it.
Right.
And then the only other thing of any substance, I guess, on this case would have been sitting in on Kyle's interview.
There was the documentation of the, I'm sorry, was your question, did I sit on the?
Yeah.
I did sit on the interview for the CIC forensic interview.
Yeah. Can you explain what that interview is? I don't want you to talk about what went on in there. We're going to get that.
Understood. Yeah. Forensic interview, when someone goes through something traumatic, oftentimes we try not to have either law enforcement interview. We have trained forensic interviewers. So I would be in a different room. Video would be audio, video recorded. Either police interrogation or anything like that, and more victim-led discussion about what happened so that law enforcement can review. There is a time where I can, the interviewer might step out and I might ask, hey, can you talk about further questions? But that's really what the interviewer would bring up after. And then I get a copy of that video to be able to review it. The goal is to make sure that we're not constantly having law enforcement go interview someone that went through something traumatic, my partner go interview the same person, then DCYF or medical or anything, trying to re-traumatize someone saying that they went through something traumatic multiple times.
Right. And you want to do it in an environment that is, it's not a police station.
It's not at the police department. This one would have been at, I think, Haven, over at the community center in Rochester.
Right, it's not even in a police facility.
Correct.
Right. And you do that so that the individual, whomever that may be, is relaxed and so that they can be candid.
Right. That would be the goal as well.
That is the goal, right?
Yes, the goal is to make sure that they're not constantly being interviewed multiple times too.
Right, and that they give you accurate information.
Yes.
If I could just have a second. Thank you.
The one piece of helpful information the defense got out of this witness was the wording that he.
Thank you very much.
He transcribed.
I will, Your Honor, maybe approach.
From the family members in the house that tends to make it seem like the mom was talking about Kyle instead of about Jason. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid. There is He's gone all the way out there. I hope he doesn't do something blanking stupid. That is the only piece we got out of this witness. I think that really helps. The trying to show how many times that Kyle approached Jason. An approach isn't a crime. Hey, you need me? You need my phone? Okay, don't call the burner phone, guys. Mrs. R.A.
Break. Is everybody in the jury box okay without a break at this point? We're thinking maybe another a few more minutes, okay? All right, thank you.
Detective Danny, I do have a couple of follow-up questions for you, just based on that. I think it makes sense, Your Honor, if witness may step out of the box and we can set the TV up. It just makes sense to start there.
Can we just leave the TV set up? We've had like break after break after break just to move the TV back and forth. Or here's an idea: we could use a courtroom instead of the airport lounge. That would be nice. Why does it keep going away? We're just having some glitches on the feed. Let's see if I can improve
it. Detective Danny, I do just want to clarify clarification on this matter. Did you...
Let me see if I can...
testifying?
Hold tight for just a second. We're gonna pause things up and see if we can sync it up better.
In the past, during your investigation, had you viewed that video?
I did.
Thank you.
Pause. Don't go anywhere. Let's see if we can bring in the audio from over here and the video from there. Wait a second. Back up just a tiny bit. I'll bring to the screen here in just a second. I'm just trying to...
Detective Danny, I do just want to clarify, because I think this bears some clarification on this matter. Did you view the 43 Summer Street video yesterday while you were testifying?
I did not.
Okay. In the past, during your investigation, had you viewed that video?
I did.
Thank you.
See if this works.
For a moment. Detective Danny, I'm actually going to hand you the mouse that controls what's on the computer screen for a minute. Yes. So you mentioned the VLC player both just now with me and while you were speaking with defense counsel. Can you just tell us briefly what that is in broad terms?
Sure. I am a software expert. It's a different type of video platform that has other options to be able to. So I don't have a frame-by-frame window, so I'm constantly pausing. You saw how many times we had to pause. VLC player offers that frame-by-frame option, so that generally used as a design for investigation.
So as you're viewing these videos during your investigation, did you view them in a frame-by-frame setting? Are you able to demonstrate for the jury what that looked like as you were viewing it? Actually, Detective Danny, I'm going to move you over here with the court's permission, of course, just so we can maybe get this up with.
Come on over and look at all of our evidence and these notes.
Are you able to tell the jury, are you doing anything to change the nature of the video itself?
Do you want me to get this up first? So I just need the file here. So I'm going to the USB, the file, and right-clicking, going to open with. Instead of Windows Media Player, I'm going to VLC Media Player to open that.
Is this a photo editing software?
No. This is, to my knowledge, no, not a photo editing, it's just a viewing. I'm not sure if it has those features. I don't know how to use those.
So as you were viewing the video in the way that the jury is about to see during your investigation, were you altering the, I'm going to say, integrity of the video?
No.
Detective, are you able to demonstrate for us how this play-by-play feature looks as you're viewing it in the system?
Sure. Can you all see? Yes. So the bottom screen over here, can you all see my mouse? Yeah. This feature right here is frame by frame. So when I click it, I want you to just pay attention to each shot is different. You see that it's snowing, you see the car moving, but you can see that I'm clicking it sometimes and that the second button up here is not moving all the way. So that's showing that there's multiple frames in 1 second. So if I click it really fast, you'll see that now we're at 5, now we're at 6. So that was a way that instead of just pushing pause, pushing play, pushing pause, and missing something, I wanted to at least see frame by frame because I think we can agree that what everyone does matter in this case.
So, Detective, I'm going to ask you to do that again for a different portion of this video. Would you be able to move the timestamp, essentially the time bar on this video, so that it is at approximately 1 minute and 15 seconds?
And then it might help if you invert the video too.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Because right now all the action's happening underneath the reflection of the clock.
Is that where we went?
Believe so, yes. Okay. Can we then go through that kind of frame by frame feature that you were talking about?
Did you want the frame by frame or the zoom too?
The frame by frame, please.
Okay. So I'm down here frame by frame.
I think I told you the wrong time. I did let me double check that. I apologize. This is you have more experience on this than I do.
The bullet should say like 22 something.
Yes. Can we fast forward it to where it is 22:16 at 42 seconds? Is that about where we're at? Okay. Can we go frame by, before we go frame by frame, can you tell us what we're looking at in this video?
This is at 16:40, so 10:16, with 40 seconds in, and this is the point where Mr. Levesque looks like he has his firearm pointed towards the direction of the tile.
Okay. Can you go frame by frame for us?
So at this point, the firearm comes out. We can start to see Mr. Violet almost in a turning, recognizing that he's seen a gun.
And at that point, I just want to pause you here. Are you able to tell, you'd mentioned just before this that Mr. Violet appears to have turned and seen the gun. Can you tell what direction his body's moving after he has, I'm going to use your words there, has seen the gun, has turned and seen that?
It looks as if, say the houses are behind us and I'm facing, it looks as if he's turning towards the right to turn away.
To turn back in the direction of his house?
Yes.
Please continue with the frame by frame.
So
You pause. At this point, are you able to tell which direction Mr. Violet was heading when the first shot was fired?
At this point, with this video, no.
Okay. Has the first shot been fired at this point in the video?
It is currently being fired, yes.
Can you tell us kind of how you can tell?
We can see that explosion from the barrel of the gun.
Please continue. At this point, are you able to see where Mr. Violet is?
I'm not.
Are you able to on a different video?
I am.
We'll go there in a moment. But for now, please continue. And if you wouldn't mind just kind of telling us, I know you talked a lot with Attorney Sisti about your process of going through and marking it each time what you see. If you wouldn't mind doing something similar just verbally for us today.
Okay. So if I was to be writing this, I'd say 1642, 1643, I see Jason with his hands down, side facing towards Kyle's direction. One step forward, starts to raise his hand, pointed towards Kyle's direction, but now I see that it's pointed towards the ground more. 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps. It's out of frame, partially out of frame. Starting to walk back towards the truck, turns around to look, appears to be looking down, turns back towards the truck and starts walking back towards his truck.
I think we can pause this frame by frame here, and I'm going to see if we can open one of the other videos, the porch view.
So porch view, I'm right-clicking again, and instead I'm opening with the LCD media player.
As it's in the process of being projected onto the screen, if you wouldn't mind just narrating to the jury, what is this process again that you're going through? Is this the same that you just went through in the first video that we watched?
It is.
And again, are you altering the integrity of the video as it exists?
I'm not.
Would you mind fast forwarding to 22/16/36? Is it set up to do that frame by frame that we had discussed?
Yes, it is.
Would you mind going through that process and kind of conducting a similar narration of what is visible as you're going frame by frame?
Yep. So I believe I see Kyle walking towards the direction of his house. He's turning, facing towards the direction of Mr. Levesque, walking towards Mr. Levesque. Out of frame, I still see a shadow. Looks like he's taking a step forward. I see both shoes as if they're pointed towards the outside, as if he's turning.
I just want to clarify what you mean by that. Both shoes as if it's pointed towards the outside.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So if he's facing and turning this way, and both of his shoes I start to see they're not pointed towards the direction of the truck, they're starting to point towards the opposite side of the road, leading me to believe he's turning around.
Thank you. I appreciate your demonstration.
Yeah. At this point, I'm starting to see Mr. Violet fall down to the ground. And I'm starting to see both his hands right here. And I'm starting to see him in the position while he's crawling. He starts to begin to get on all fours and start crawling, facing towards his house. And at this point, I'm starting to see some introduction of, I guess, almost smoke or disturbance, which kind of leads me to believe that these are the next series of shots that are there.
Would that also be consistent with where those shell casings were found and where the blood was located on the scene when you arrived?
It would.
Yeah, that looks bad. If he's crawling away from you on the ground and you fire 5 more times.
I know you watched the previous video where you see more of what the defendant is doing in this moment, but based on the timestamps and what you've seen in both videos, are you able to tell at what point the defendant begins advancing towards Mr. Violet?
I'm sorry, can you say?
Yes. So are you able to tell based on looking at the video we just watched and this one, as well as what both parties are doing during those videos, where Mr. Violet is located when the defendant begins advancing towards him after that first shot, where his body is placed?
Where Kyle Violet's body is placed when Mr. Levesque advances towards him. He's on the ground. Looks like he's either on all fours or trying to crawl facing towards his house.
Thank you.
With his back up. This is ultimately where he was, I believe, located, in the more concentration area of blood was found.
Your Honor, one moment. Detective Danny, I have one more video that I'd like us to take a look at. You wouldn't mind closing out of this one.
Counsel, I'm sorry, I thought you've done this before. All the videos you're showing him now, these are all contained on State's Exhibit
2. Yes, I apologize, Your Honor. I should have clarified that. These are all in State's Exhibit 2. They will all be made available for the jury.
Just one record of what we're looking at.
Yes.
So these are multiple files on State's Exhibit 2. Thank you.
So, Detective Danny, is there any other way that you were able to view these videos besides that frame by frame in this media player?
Yes.
What else did you use in order to enhance your viewing of these videos?
There's a feature called interactive zoom, which you can get a highlight box and kind of drag and drop to an area that will zoom into that area to see a little further.
And I think I asked this on the other videos as well, but I'm going to ask it again. Does this alter the integrity of the video as you're looking at it?
No.
Are you able to demonstrate for us what that looks like on this video?
Let's go to tools, effects, filters, video effects, geometry, interactive zoom, hit save. Now I have a box that I can highlight an area that I might want to watch.
And I just want to be clear for the record. It looks like there are two little screens.
Yes, correct.
Tell us what this one in the corner is.
The corner screen is the actual view of what the video contains, and it contains a white box that you can drag and drop to an area. So for instance, if I wanted that top left corner, I would drag and drop, and now this bottom part is that zoomed in area of that white box.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. If you wouldn't mind, on this video, fast forwarding it to approximately 22 minutes into the video.
Is that 1022? 2222? Or is that 22?
On the
2200. Or you just
on the bottom, yes.
On the bottom?
Approximately 22 minutes. 2155 is fine. Are you able to then move that box so that the focus is exactly that? And can you just narrate for us what is in kind of focus of this zoom?
Yeah, this is the driveway of 41 Summer Street, and it's the front of Mr. Levesque's truck, his plow truck, and showing some of his driveway and a car that's there as well.
Okay, would you mind, are you able to do the frame by frame on this as well?
I am.
While it is zoomed in.
So right here I'm able to see Mr. Levesque and Mr. Violet. Did you want me to continue?
Yes, please continue. I know you discussed earlier with Attorney Steve that you are not able to hear what Mr. Violet is saying in any of these videos. Are you able to hear if the defendant is saying anything either?
No, there was no audio in any of these videos.
Are you able to say with confidence if what was said by either party?
No.
So at this point, can you tell us what we're looking at?
So at this point, if I were to go back, sorry. So at this point, I start to see Mr. Levesque actually make a move, and I can see his hands extended out. When I say make a move, it almost seems like he's moving forward while he starts to have his hands extended out. And I see Mr. Violet taking steps forward, and I start to see him turning around and walking backwards while Mr. Levesque takes a step forward. And then with the hands going down.
I just want to clarify for a moment. When you said had his hands out, is that in general his hands are just kind of out while gesturing?
His hands look extended out as if he's holding a firearm.
Thank you. Please continue with the frame by frame.
So hands were down, this is what I'm talking about, with hands extended out as if he's holding a firearm again, and now he's starting to take steps forward. And I note that the focus and with the hands also seems to be at a downward angle. And he's walking back, looking back, and walking back.
Thank you, Detective. You can resume your seat. And viewing the videos the way that we just showed the jury.
This is such it doesn't appear that he's denying that the shots happened, right? And he was the one that shot. So really this comes down to when I'm trying to be on like a fact-finding mission, what happened in those videos if you watch just 10
Objection, he's speculating. He's talking about fact-finding.
Clarifying question.
Yes, Your Honor. Detective, let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Does going step by step and frame by frame in those videos, is it easier for you to get a clear picture of what happened?
It is.
Is that in part because the videos look fast when you just watch them straight through?
Yes.
So when you go frame by frame and when you zoom in, does it allow you to get a more accurate picture of what's actually happening?
It does.
Does it allow you, in cases like that driveway video we just saw while zoomed in, does it allow you to essentially cut out the extraneous part of the video and focus on what you're needing to be focused on during your investigation?
It does.
One moment, Your Honor. Detective, I have no further questions for you. Defense may have a few.
Thank you.
Briefly, Detective, that was a helpful presentation. Thank you. When you view the videos in real time, real time, not breakdown time and not frame by frame time, it does go by fast, just like the prosecutor said.
Yes, sir.
In fact, I've got your log, and it took only 5 seconds from the time Kyle made his last turnaround and approach to Jason until all of the gunshot was over.
If that's what the bullets say, then yes.
5 seconds. Correct?
Correct.
And as we watch these various videos and various angles, you'd agree with me, there was only one person who appeared to be confronting the other person, right?
I guess it depends on what you're qualifying the confrontation. I would say anyone pointing a gun is a confrontation.
Oh, no, let's go before.
Before that?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yes. And that person would have been Kyle confronting Jason, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now, I think this is the appropriate time for our mid-morning break. So
of course, we need a break.
10 minutes, and we'll be back. Thank you very much. All right, hearing, please. All right.
I don't think this is going to be hard for the jury. Because even if shot number 1 was self-defense, shots 2 through 6 do not appear to be. And that's case closed. So let's see. Dana Nicole says, I don't understand why he went out there hot like that when he had not even plowed snow on their driveway yet. I think we got testimony yesterday that previously in another storm, Jason had done the same thing. He had not yet finished plowing, and he does this, and then he pushes it into their driveway. So I think they just were trying to avoid the push it into the driveway step instead of come out and yell at him after he had done it. We get plenty of breaks and plenty of time to stretch in this trial. What about stand your ground laws? Kyle was in Jason's yard, Jason's property. He was in the street, sure. And if he went out to the sidewalk and out to the street. Sidewalk is public access. They have the right to that. You don't own the street in front of your house. It's sad that it came to that. It really is. So a friend, I've told you about this little gig I'm doing I think it's in July. Going up to Virginia to film a documentary for 2 or 3 days. I have to be completely self-sufficient. The ranch we're on is like a historic ranch, and so it's private property. No, you just can't show up. Private property, they don't allow ATVs or side-by-sides. And they want to maintain the quiet atmosphere, so we can't even bring a speaker system. If we want to have music, we literally have to have a live band that's playing acoustic instruments. These are the rules. And I've got to figure out how to film everything. It's just a little west of Washington, D.C. I've got to figure out how to film everything that happens over 3 days with no power, going around on foot, and tenting at night. And I didn't know these details before I signed up. When I signed up, I thought I was going to have an ATV chauffeur who would drive me everywhere I need to go. Now I need to film everything. had a meeting last night just before the podcast talking about this. I'm like, wow. No amplification. Going to be wrecked. Yeah, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And since it's a period reenactment, they want us to be in costume for about, I don't know, the 1800s period. So, cotton pants and suspenders, long sleeve shirt. Have helpers? I don't. Nope. It's rugged. Electric golf cart would get stuck. I don't know what town it is. It's a massive ranch west of DC. I'm not going to give out too much information about it. You just sprint. I need a van. I need a sprinter. In costume with camera, yes. It's rugged. A mule might work. Horses. I think horse is actually an option. I don't have a horse though. Pack mule it is. Here's the thing. We're going to have groups of people all over the place. I'm supposed to film all of them. There are 2 camera people to cover everything. And I have to film what's happening with one group and then zoom over to where another group is and film what's happening there. And if it's just me hoofing it, there may be a mile or 2 between these groups at different times. The boys help. No, the boys are going to be in the group. Or he has an old wooden box of camera. Yeah, I've got the flash pan and everyone hold still. It's going to be like that. Need a fleet of drones. I don't even know what the drone laws are in Virginia, if I can even take mine. I haven't flown mine in North Carolina since it's been forever because the laws are so restrictive here. Trail cams. There you go. Well, a friend just sent me the GPS maps. He went up there and mapped the entire thing out. He walked to the trail, mapped it all out on his Garmin. I just loaded that in a Google map to look at things, and wow, it's going to be a doozy. Will be a cool experience to make for fun stories. Challenges make you better at your job. Yes, this is the 3rd time I've done one like this. I've done one in Wyoming like this, which was a challenge. That was crazy. It's better than banker's hours. Our money at work. New Hampshire just does it different. They do start at 10 o'clock, take a lot of breaks. They take a mid-morning break. They take a lunch break. They take a mid-afternoon break. I think they take an early dinner break. And then they're done by 4. So. Mrs. R.A. is not going to be there. It's actually the other camera person was one of the producers for Mr. Beast. When I went to the movie premiere out in Utah, the husband and wife duo that produced that movie, it's her. It's the wife on that couple, friends of ours. Rent a mule with a wagon. The problem with the mule and wagon is I need to be able to zip ahead of everybody. And I don't think I've ever seen a speedy mule. Judge does have a morning calendar. We just like to give him a hard time. Most judges put in a full day's work, if not more, because they also can be on call rotation for search warrants, for signing search warrants in the middle of the night and things like that. And they also have to sometimes work holidays with arraignments and things like that. So yeah, the judge is putting in his time. We just like to call it out when our trial only gets limited daylight hours. Are they done for the day? No, they're having a little break. They're having a little walkabout, getting a stretch to the legs. Jeep would be good. We can have no motorized vehicles. We can't have any generators unless it's like one of those super quiet inverter style generators, which I don't have. I've got a loud one. So I just need to think of how I can. Because of my camping days when I was a scoutmaster, I have ultralight camping gear, which is my tent weighs like 2 pounds. Light sleeping bag, because it's summertime in Virginia, I'll be fine with that. Pad. So I'm thinking maybe 10 pounds worth of sleeping gear. But then I'm going to have like 40 pounds worth of batteries. I don't know how to get around that. Oh, it's good. All right. Do you know if you get called for jury duty in New Hampshire, you're required to serve for 30 days, not just one trial? Heard that. It was a previous trial. We heard that out of New Hampshire just a little while ago, a couple months ago. But it's easy. Just don't go. I've already committed. I'm already in. Solar panels galore. I've got to lug it on my back if I do. Can we do a poll on guilt or innocence? Yes, after all the evidence is in, we'll do that. Off-road bicycle. I'm leaning this way. I'm leaning to an electric bicycle. Tomorrow, I get the new tires for my existing bicycle, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to just carry it all in a pack and bike it, because that's hard work. They better pay good money for all that hassle. No, it's a volunteer position. Zero money. It will be out-of-pocket expense for me only. No reimbursements. You have an e-bike to give me. Problem is, I'm in California. Time for an electric mountain bike pulling a wagon. See, I'm trying to think through the electric mountain bike option. I've been looking at a couple that are nice. Can you get a wagon thing to attach to your bike? I need to see how rugged the trails are. I've heard they're pretty rugged and rough. So the wagon, I can go pretty ultralight on my gear. I'm going to be filming on my phone and a handful of GoPros. I'm not taking the nice camera. Well, I might actually take the nice camera, this one. When my Scout Troop hiked Philmont, we did 2 days with a pair of pack burros. Those 2 days were the hardest legs of the journey by far. That's because we went so far. The burros probably had a blast. Federal grand juries serve for a year, mostly once a week. It's good fun. Check out some Burning Man bike builds. I'm gonna start with my mountain bike. I used to ride a lot. When I was a kid, I did like 40 milers and stuff like that. That was great. We'd camp we'd carry lightweight stuff, have our chase vehicle carry our sleeping gear, our tents and our sleeping bags. But we biked across. There was a time we were biking on a freeway in Wyoming, like interstate freeway. Dangerous. Nowadays they'll pull you over, give you a ticket. But we were on this interstate freeway, and it was we came to a place where there was a rest stop, and then there was a slight downhill section, which is amazing for Wyoming because it's flat. There was this downhill section, and we're all in the rest stop, and a big trucker comes in. The guy comes in, uses the rest facility there, and he gets back in his truck, and it's time for us to start. And we're like, hey, here's our opportunity. We can draft behind this truck, and the wind from around the semi will pull us along. And so as he started pulling out, we sort of zipped behind the truck without him seeing us, and just stayed right behind and just started pedal. And it takes a while for a truck to get up to speed. It burned like crazy, but I'd say about 35 miles an hour, because we're going downhill. We're pedaling as fast as we can go, and the wind sort of starts sucking us towards, and we start having to use our brakes because the wind behind that truck was just like, it was crazy. We were just using our brakes to stay away from the truck was all we were doing. And we got going. We were moving. We were hauling. If something had happened, we would have left a skid mark for days on that freeway. But I don't recommend doing that. I'm pretty sure it's not legal. But we covered some serious ground. Oh, man. Remember the Mythbusters episode about fuel savings from drafting behind a semi-truck? I didn't see that one, but I can tell you I covered some serious distance. The burn on the front end, just pedaling to accelerate, was a lot, but as soon as the wind started like sucking us behind it, it was a breeze. Need to find a train and YouTube too. We need a train and YouTube to find the heart. Missed that one. How do you charge an electric bike without electricity? Pack solar panels. There are some electric bikes that have a range of about, 80 miles on a charge. And I would be I'm only going about 10 to 15 miles max during the week. So I should be all right.
Thank you all. Be seated. So counsel, just want to discuss instructions out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jury out. Speak on a minute.
Roro, happy Friday to you. Happy 18 months as well.
All rise. Jury entering.
Martha Ivy says, thank you, Ari, for making this a safe place for everyone. Thank you. I really enjoy being here. Thank you. 15 months as well. Thank you. Think the judge is getting his smoke breaks in? Possibly. Very likely. That or he's not a camel.
Please be seated.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we call the next witness, I do have to give you some further instructions. As is the case sometimes.
Can we approach?
Sure.
Whoa, they cut him off. What are you about to tell the jury? Excuse me? As is the case sometimes. Yes, by the way, thank you for everyone who sent the links to the various electronic gear cleaners. I have ordered some, and it will be arriving here. I had many options, but I chose one that specifically listed it was great for technology stuff, keyboards and screens. Barb, we noticed you fell asleep, but you looked really tired, so we just let you rest. That's all right. You can watch it on the replay. BM. I'm going to do, my legs are built for this. I'm not sure why we're looking right here, but.
So, we're going to withdraw what I was just about to say to you, and the state is about to call their next witness.
Thank you.
And that witness is?
The state calls John Freese.
John Freese. Thank you.
I'm not sure what the judge thought was going to happen, but it didn't.
It's to the left of the judge. And if you could approach kind of around the corner there, face the judge, remain standing for your oath.
All right. Good morning, sir. Will you raise your right hand? You swear any testimony you're about it will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. You may be seated. Just please keep your voice up so everyone can hear you. Counsel, you may inquire.
Thanks, sir. Can you state your name and spell your name for the court record, please?
Sure. John Freese. The last name is F-R-E-E-S-E.
And what do you do for work?
I'm an emergency physician.
Where?
At Frisbee Memorial Hospital primarily, but also hospitals in New Hampshire and Virginia.
Understood. Can you give the jury just a brief summation of your professional training and experience?
I've been an emergency physician for 25 years. I trained at Indianapolis, the Indiana University Emergency Medicine program back in 2000. When I graduated from there, I did my postdoctoral fellowship in EMS, or Emergency Medical Services, at the New York City Fire Department. Spent 10 years as a medical director with the fire department, was chief medical director, and oversaw all the ambulances in New York City for that decade, during which time I also worked clinically. And then for the last 12 years, I've been primarily here in New Hampshire and now also Virginia.
Thank you. I think that suffices. Look, do you remember, with the benefit perhaps of reviewing some records, treating a patient named Kyle Violet?
Yes.
And my understanding, if I could just briefly summarize, you saw him, but he then was transferred to 2 other hospitals.
That's correct.
You know, given the nature of his injuries, can you just give us a thumbnail, an estimate of how many physicians do you think treated him over the course of his 3 admissions to various hospitals?
It was dozens.
And so I'll cut to the chase. You know, by agreement with Attorney Sisti, we've asked you to kind of come in and summarize the treatment evaluations from each 3 of the hospitals, so that we don't bring in dozens of physicians. Is that how you understood your testimony today?
It is.
And have you had the benefit then of reviewing treatment notes, summaries, and image notes from the other hospitals?
Yes, I have.
And based on your training and experience, notwithstanding the fact that you didn't actually do the treatment down in Boston, do you feel comfortable sharing with the jury a summary and an explanation of the treatment and injuries?
I do.
Great. Then let's get started.
Just so the record's clear, this is without objection, correct?
No, this is actually an agreement we made like a week ago. So
very good. Just
it's going.
Wanted the record clear. Thank you. Continue.
To understand, it could take days to talk to 13, 14.
Of course, the court understands. I just wanted the record clear.
Okay.
Just wanted the record clear.
Dr. Bruce, do you recall when Mr. Violet was admitted?
It was April 4th of 2022.
And I'm going to refer you to my reference note of page 427. Actually, this may be faster if I approach, Your Honor.
Of course, please.
Can you share with the jury? And you said he was admitted to what facility?
Initially to Frisbee, and I misspoke. I said 2022. It was 2024.
I've done that too. In the past few days. So, do you recall the time that he was admitted and discharged?
He was admitted to Frisbee at...
Counsel, I'm referring to page 427 of the notes. I'll direct your attention to the fourth paragraph.
At 10:30 p.m.
And then can you indicate when he was discharged?
Yeah, at 11:13.
So about 45 minutes he's at Frisbee, correct?
That's correct.
And if you could summarize the evaluation, the injury notes, the triaging notes from his arrival at Frisbee. How did he appear to you?
So when he arrived, he was anxious, he was pale, and he was confused, as most people are when their blood pressure is critically low, as his was. His initial evaluation demonstrated a number of gunshot wounds, and his initial treatment for stabilization, given his very low blood pressure and the severity of his wounds, was to secure his airway. So he was paralyzed, sedated, and intubated or placed on a ventilator. He had a cordis introducer placed, which is a very large IV catheter that was placed into his femoral artery to allow for the rapid administration of blood products. And he had a chest tube placed, a large tube that goes into the chest cavity to allow his left lung to re-expand.
Very well. I'm going to direct your attention to what is our discovery note of 446, should be on the bottom right-hand page of your notes.
Okay.
There appears to be an admission summary. Can you indicate the number of gunshot wounds that Frisbee was able to identify?
It appeared to be a total of 6 gunshot wounds.
And can you briefly describe them to the jury?
Sure. There were 2 to the left chest. One was just below the clavicle. One was over the left lateral chest wall. One was to the lower abdomen, which was just inside of the hip bone, the front of your hip here. The next was to the left hemiscrotum, so just adjacent to the penis and somewhat involving the penis and the scrotum. And then there was one to each buttock.
You would describe that the pelvic, the abdominal wound was anterior. That's actually on the front side.
Correct.
Okay. And behind that was a gunshot wound to his left buttock. Is that correct?
Correct.
This goes on to indicate the sort of the level of concern. What was the determination of his condition?
He was critically ill.
And would you consider critically ill to be life-threatening?
Imminently.
And so you had made some additional notes that I don't understand. The patient was notably, and can you share that word? Tachycardic?
The patient was notably tachycardic or had an elevated heart rate and markedly hypertensive, meaning his blood pressure was incredibly low, with an initial systolic blood pressure in the 50s.
And then what did you do in response to that, if anything?
So, as mentioned, he had the cordis introducer placed, which was the large bore IV. He had 2 units of blood that were initially ordered. The intubation, placing him on the ventilator, like I mentioned, and then immediately after the intubation and placing him on a ventilator, the tube thoracostomy, or the chest tube, was placed in his left chest.
I noticed that the notation uses the term a massive transfusion protocol. What is that?
Most hospitals have a transfusion protocol that requires the administration of multiple blood products in the case of a critically ill patient who appears to have significant bleeding. So it includes the administration of not only red blood cells, but also products to help to replace the factors that allow you to form a blood clot, so that you have all aspects of your blood being replaced.
There's a notation on 427 that indicates at 2240 PRCP Unit 1 and then Unit 2 both transfused within 10 minutes. Is that notable to you?
Yes, it's a rapid infusion, as we would expect for a critically ill trauma patient.
And so after making these assessments, what do you actually do at Frisbee Memorial?
So like most smaller hospitals or critical access hospitals, the role of a smaller hospital is to stabilize the patient so that they're able to survive transfer to a tertiary facility or a higher level of care, or in this case, 2 higher levels of care. So our goal was to maintain his blood pressure, maintain his airway, improve his breathing, get in touch with a trauma surgeon at a local hospital, in this case Portsmouth, and move in there as rapidly as possible.
And did they agree to receive this patient, Mr. Violet, at the Portsmouth Hospital?
They did. Dr. Cromer accepted the patient.
In fact, was this situation so acute that you essentially held off on doing other diagnostics that you would have normally done?
Yes, and that's standard for someone who's this critically injured.
And so you've indicated to us that at 23:13, he actually left for Portsmouth.
Correct.
And I want to then turn your attention to the documents that appear to be generated from Portsmouth, which begin at 468 of our discovery.
Okay.
What I first see is what appears to be a summary of a CT scan report.
Yes.
And can you please explain the observations or the diagnostics that are referred on 469, the following page, concerning stomach and bowel?
With regard to the stomach and bowel, there were a few punctate metallic foreign bodies within the lumen of the stomach, which were felt to represent bullet fragments that had been swallowed by the patient. There were no evidence of any bowel injury on the CT scan itself.
Wow. And so at this point, they hadn't yet diagnosed the perforation of his bowel that was eventually they performed surgery on.
Correct.
Can you return then to the, give us a summary of the findings for his lungs?
For his lungs, there was the chest tube that we placed at Frisbee that terminated near the lung apex or at the top of the lung. There was fluid within the chest tube itself, which was the blood that was coming from that tube. And there was a small left-sided hemopneumothorax, which is a combination of blood and air that remained in the chest even after re-expansion of the lung with that chest tube.
There's a heading called osseous and soft tissue chest. Can you summarize those findings?
The radiologist noted that there were several small metallic fragments in the left pectoralis muscle or the left chest muscle here. That there was a larger metallic fragment that was just in front of or anterior to the first rib, and then subcutaneous air or air beneath the skin that would be expected after someone had both gunshot wounds to the chest and a chest tube placed.
Look, in that area that we're talking about, can you share with us whether there are either critical nerve, veins, arteries, other organs that you would be concerned about for major trauma in that particular area?
Yes, everything that keeps you alive sits right there. Your heart is just to the left of your sternum, primarily. The aorta, which is the artery that carries all of your blood to all of your body, leaves the heart and curves to the left and descends, as well as going up through your carotid arteries. The lung, obviously, and in this case, the artery that surrounds each one of your ribs, which by itself can also be a life-threatening injury.
This report has a heading called reproductive. Can you just briefly share with us the observations and diagnostics?
Yeah, they note that there's some subcutaneous air, so again, air beneath the skin within the left hemiscrotum or the left half of the scrotum. They were able to describe this as an entry wound that was adjacent to the left base of the penis and then some small metallic foreign bodies beneath the skin that were noted, as well as several smaller metallic foreign bodies within the scrotum itself. And they were not able to visualize in this study the patient's left testicle.
Understood. There is a notation at, looks like 469, concerning the, again, this is soft tissue, tissue structures. Quote, there appears to be a potential exit wound at the skin surface of the anterior left lower quadrant of the abdomen.
Yes.
Just want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor. Of course. Counsel, these are the photos.
Your Honor, these are full exhibits, and I have no objection.
Very good. The record will so reflect these are full exhibits.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as States 19. Just ask if you could explain kind of what you see.
So this is, by definition, a critically ill patient, as evidenced by the fact that they're on a ventilator. The patient appears to be his left chest tube still in place from what I can see from the lines. He has an oral gastric tube in place, which is a tube that drains the stomach of the gastric contents, of the stomach contents that you produce every day, even if you don't eat, and multiple monitors.
I had originally asked you about the observation or the statement describing an exit wound in the abdomen. I'm going to show you stage 21 and ask if that is consistent with the evaluation that was
It would appear to match.
And as an exit wound, does it make sense that that would correlate with what I'm going to show you in States Exhibit 23, which, if you could just describe that to the jury.
So this is a wound that appears to be on the high portion of the left buttock, relatively large in size, and with no surrounding skin changes.
And if that were the entry wound, would that make sense to you radically that the abdominal wound was in fact the exit wound?
It certainly could be.
And so the image that we see in, if I may, in 21, while located kind of on the front of his body, was actually inflicted from behind him.
Yes, it appears so.
Do you recall evaluating initially the gunshot wound to his face?
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to show you stage 20 and ask if you can identify that and describe it with the jury what you see.
Yes, this appeared to be a gunshot wound or a penetrating wound to the jaw or the mandible that was just beneath the jawbone or the mandible here on the side of the neck.
And do you recall the consequences of the result of that particular gunshot?
It appeared that he had significant intraoral injuries as well. And I recall from the note being able to even palpate bullet fragments in the area of the jaw.
And, once again, now in this area of the body, can you just tell us whether or not there are critical nerve, one, and other potential organs very close to that?
Yeah, this is very close to your carotid artery, the main artery that sits here that feeds essentially one half of your brain. An injury to that, like most major arteries, is one you can bleed to death from within 2 to 5 minutes. And if the bullet continued further than that, you have the spinal cord and the brainstem, which allow you to live.
At Frisbee, you can confirm that you deferred some analysis, and that includes CT scans. So is it true that you did not see the dissected portion of the carotid?
That's correct.
There is a brief summary on 492, if I could refer you, before he is then passed on to Boston Medical Center. And at the bottom there, it seems to be a paragraph. Can you confirm that at Portsmouth they continued to, were required to provide massive transfusion, continued there?
Yes, it did.
And that the injuries were consistent with what was observed at Portsmouth, but here at Frisbee, but they add here that they now have observed an external carotid injury, complicated mandibular fracture, pulmonary hemorrhaging, and again, make note of the significance of the external carotid injury. Can you just briefly describe for the jury what they're talking about?
Yeah, so what they found on the CT scans that were performed there was that the carotid artery, which comes up your neck and then splits into the internal carotid artery that goes to your brain and the external carotid artery that goes to your face. The external carotid artery had a sudden occlusion near its origin from the common carotid artery. So it appeared that the bullet had transected that artery.
What do you mean by transected?
All right, cut in half or caused the blood flow in that artery to stop.
And can you confirm, to your knowledge, that at Portsmouth they did some surgical intervention?
Yes, they did.
That they repaired a temporary repair of his bowel, that is taking out a section of his intestine and lower bowel?
They did. They identified that injury, the scrotal injury that required removal of his left testicle, and because of, as we mentioned previously, the continued air and fluid that still remained within his chest, a second chest tube was placed at that time.
And then do you recall why it was that they transferred him out of even Portsmouth?
The injury to the carotid artery was felt to be such that it could potentially progress and needed specialized care not available at Portsmouth. Portsmouth is a level 2 trauma center. It needed a level 1 trauma center with specialized vascular surgeons.
And did that turn out to be Boston Medical Center at the Yawkey facility?
Yes, it did.
And do you recall that he was, in fact, medevac, that he was flown down to Boston to receive the treatment given the discovery of the vascular injury?
Yes, he was.
I would like then to just, if I could briefly turn your attention to the Yawkey admission, to the Boston admission, is at page 44, which is grossly out of order in yours. I think it's at the end.
Yes, I know.
And just down to the bottom of it, can you just review this paragraph and summarize what it is that Boston observes?
Sure. So they observed that this gentleman had been transferred now from 2 hospitals. They summarized his injuries from his CT scans, including his fractured mandible, fractured jaw, nasal fractures, the transection or the cutting in half of his external carotid artery on the right, an injury to his left chest that included, as I mentioned, the left hemopneumothorax, or the blood and air that was outside of his lung within his chest. The first rib fracture, what's documented here is a right RP hematoma, or a right retroperitoneal hematoma, meaning a blood collection behind the abdomen. A right iliac wing fracture, so that the wing of the hip bone here that was fractured, a pelvic hematoma in that same area, the left scrotal injury, and then a fracture of his left femur. And then they summarized the previous procedures that had been done.
Very well. On page 54, there's a paragraph down to the bottom that likewise, I think, recites the
Happy birthday, Veda Worship. We sent to you this morning.
The degree of injury or concern here.
Yeah, so they summarize all of his injuries, but they comment to begin that the patient is critically ill with hypovolemic shock, acute respiratory failure, the hemothorax, the pneumothorax, acute blood loss anemia, and that has resulted in impairment of vital organ function with a high probability of imminent life-threatening deterioration.
And I probably should have done some of the vocabulary. Can you define hemothorax and pneumothorax for the jury, please?
Sure. Hemothorax is a collection of blood outside of the lung or between the lung and the chest wall, and the pneumothorax is the same, but in that case, air.
And on page 55, there appears to be a summary from a different physician who concurs that these injuries require involvement of highly complex decision-making to assess, manipulate, and support treatment of vital organ system failure.
Yes.
Does that fairly summarize Mr. Violet's condition when he reached and was evaluated in Boston on 4/5/24?
Yes, that would be consistent with what we saw at Frisbee and what the documentation throughout says.
And, without getting into the litany of surgical interventions, was it your expectation reading these that significant medical intervention was required in order to save Mr. Violet's life?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Sir, those are my questions.
Thank you. Attorney Sisti, cross-examination?
No questions.
No questions. Doctor, you're excused. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Counsel, can you approach? Thank you.
Got to find where our counter went. It disappeared.
We just finished the witness. This is a good time for us to take our lunch break. So we'll be back here in an hour at 1 o'clock or so. All right? Very good. Thank you all. Please rise. Enjoy your lunch.
Don't think they need to do anything. So
See you back after lunch. And as the first witness, you intend the one that needs, as far as we know. I know everything can change.
It will be.
Very good. Thank you.
is he in cuffs this whole time?
Oh.
It's interesting if he's in cuffs the entire time. All right, we're going to go to lunch. This is a training knife. This is not a real knife. This is an exact replica as far as size goes, with the exception of the thickness. This knife is thicker because if it was the same thickness on the edge, it would be sharp and pointy. It is not. It is dull and flat. But as far as the length of the blade goes, that is a 7-inch blade. It has what's called a blood groove on it, which is a little indentation on each side. What's that is designed to do? If there's a stab made into a body, it doesn't immediately start squirting blood out. If for some reason it doesn't start flowing, as you stab in, that indentation creates a vacuum inside the body and sort of sucks the blood and begins the blood flowing quite quickly. So quite impressive little knife. 7 inches long blade, sturdy handle. Usually it has leather. It's leather wrapped right here. These little bumps would be leather wraps on there, and usually a little bit shinier than this. But the sheath is on the way. We got the exact type of sheath that was used, that was found at the crime scene as well. The weapon, interestingly enough, is missing in the Brian Koberger case. It's somewhere. Maybe in the Snake River, maybe in the mountains, maybe somewhere else, maybe in a garbage can somewhere. But the weapon has not been found. But if the sheath is an indication of what the weapon is, this is most likely a close representation of the size of the weapon that was used. And this can do a ton of damage. A ton of damage. All right. Did I review the audio calls for 911? I listened to about 30 seconds of one. I'm not sure if the whole thing's come out. And I'd have a question. Were they leaked? It came out through a YouTuber, right? You just call it impressive. Not like, wow, I'm impressed type thing. It can make quite an impression on someone. That type of impression. Some are saying it's AI. I've heard a news agency say they were able to authenticate the 911 call. I just don't know. If somebody's making AI and passing it off as a real thing, don't do that. Okay, there are families, there are victims, there are people whose lives were turned upside down that day. And for someone to go out and make an AI anything about it to fake evidence, nope. All right. Yes. Dang, that's a big knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Crocodile Dundee has a quote as well about that. Send an update to a burner about your package. It says, as the Fayetteville Package Sorting Center. Okay, so Fayetteville's a ways away from me, like 6 hours. But, crikey. Knife was probably thrown in the Snake River, and the Snake River is if you've never been there, there are two massive rivers in the United States. We've got the Snake River, well, three. We've got the Snake River, we've got the Colorado River, and we've got the Mississippi. They're massive. They're massive, massive rivers that can be, half a mile across or wider. So I think the Mississippi can be over a mile wide at some points. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a geography expert. Snake River runs through my area. Yes, there's an idea that he possibly that night went down and across the Snake River and maybe stopped to throw something out the window. And if so, it would be very, very difficult to locate that item. Although, if you knew where it was, it would be possible to sweep with magnets and try to pick it up. The only problem is there's so much junk and crap and years of old cars and everything else that are at the bottom of that river that finding just one knife among all the other knives and all the other firearms and all the other cars and safes and fire extinguishers and shopping carts that are down there, it would be difficult. So, plus it's never clear water. The Snake River never runs clear. It's always muddy. So, cars, yeah, people dump their cars. Insurance fraud happens. How fast is the current? Would it be carried away? It's not white water, but it's moving and it's very deep. There's shopping carts. There's shopping carts. The shopping carts are the kids who are like, hey, this would be funny. Watch this. Yeah, there goes the shopping cart. I think I can confess to this crime. There was a point when I was an early driver, let's say 16 years old, driving my family vehicle, which happened to be a 1976 Ford Country Squire station wagon with fake wood paneling on the side, snow tires on the back. That was my commute vehicle. So I'm driving that. It's late at night. We're in a parking lot in a grocery store, and there's a cart there. And I may or may not have pulled up along behind the cart, so it was up against the bumper, which is all metal. You can't dent these cars. And given the cart a little push with my cart, which causes it to zip along the parking lot and then hit a speed bump and do this really cool trick in the air. And that it may have been very funny, possibly, allegedly. And I may have thought, that was so much fun. I think I'm going to do it again. And if that had actually happened, I may have lined up my car directly behind another cart in the parking lot and been switching from the brake pedal to the gas pedal when I saw a police car allegedly pull into the same parking lot that I was in. And rapidly have a change of plans, allegedly. That may have happened. Or maybe I just dreamed it all. The only people police like less than me are magnet fishermen. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, the police do not want you to find evidence. If they can't find it, they don't want you to find it because it is a nightmare, a paperwork nightmare for them. Plus, it causes all sorts of issues. When you're magnet fishing, the police are like, great. Some kid down by the river just pulled out a grenade, and now we have to call the bomb squad, and everybody has to go, because somebody got a grenade, which may or may not be inert. It's all a lucid dream. I can see it quite vividly. All right. Yes. You would be amazed what you find. People think that a river is a safe dumping ground. It is not. All right, we're going to lunch. It is 12:15. We're going to be back at 1, top of the hour. I am a mischievous little man. I was not a perfect youth. I had my moments of rebellion. We're going to be back at 1 o'clock, which is 45 minutes. I think I'm going to go down to the post office and make sure I'm not missing something there. There was nothing there yesterday afternoon, but I'll check. Was there a verdict in the 2-for-1 trial? Yes, we got demonetized on that one. Surprise, surprise. Not on the verdict, but on the last day of court. Yes, there was a verdict. You can guess what it is. You guys already did in the poll. You got that right. So let's see. Anything else? People always dump their stolen cars in the rivers. Yes. Are your kiddos as adventurous as you? No, thankfully. I am so fortunate. All right. Portal has been created. Pin the message. All we need to do is hit the button and start the music. I did not start confessing youthful acts until my children were adults, says Jen Joe. Mostly I just liked fishing. I would get on my bike Saturday mornings and ride 10 miles to go fishing. I was all about the fishing. Hiking the mountains, fishing, that was the life growing up. I was not a bad kid. How'd the pro se guy turn out? Well, he's going to get sentenced in a couple weeks, I think. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live at 1 o'clock with part 2 of day 3 of the Jason Levesque Snowplow shooter bad neighbor trial. Whew, it's going to be a good one. We've got a portal set up, so we'll see you guys on the other side. Fire Girl, handmade by Wendy, already the winner in that new chat. You guys have yourselves a great lunch. I will be back shortly. Mrs. R.A. is at the grocery store, so I have to fend for myself, and I think that means I have to eat salad. So it'll be good for me, I promise. You guys have a good lunch. We'll see you. Bye-bye.